last video, I'm not going to see you this weekend. I'm going to see you sooner in this video, and then again this weekend, probably. There's some bills that, as always, I have to catch up with, and almost there. I just want to get my car payment paid off ahead of the actual time that it's due, because it's due on the 15th. That's on Sunday. I'll be out in the woods on Sunday, and if I go out on Sunday and I don't drive, I'm planning on going on Saturday, assuming I can make a good, decent bit amount of money tomorrow, but it's going to be raining all day on Friday, then we'll be good to go. But today's video, what I want to do for you guys is explain and show you the different things that should go in your backpack if you're a beginner, maybe if you're intermediate, but I'm going to be taking into consideration for this next part, my experience in the Marine Corps and how packing it kind of a Marine style really helps out. Okay, so the first thing is a shelter, right? You want to be able to stay protected from the elements. You want to be protected and away from bugs like ticks and mosquitoes that can bring disease to you, like Lyme disease or malaria or the Zika virus or whatever it is. And having a good shelter will help you do that. Now in the winter, if you're camping or you're out in the woods, or if you're outside in general, you don't have to worry as much about bugs because there are none. They're all in hibernation or they are dead. So, starting out with the shelter first, I have a Outback double 6-point suspension mosquito net, and this will also help with spiders and ticks as long as I clear the area that I'm sleeping in. And this is a double mosquito net, so you can fit 2 people under here easily, but I got a double for myself and Zeus because I want to keep my stuff close, and I also want to make sure he's got enough room to move around if he wants to. So that's the first part of the shelter. The second part is actually on my bag. It is a tarp. I need to get a smaller, more lightweight tarp, but this is the one I have to work with right now. It's a, I believe it's a 9 by 12 foot tarp. It is massive, way too big for one person, but it's very useful to have a tarp that big because then if you need to, you can reconfigure it and make an even better shelter, given that it's easy to work with. This one is particularly not that easy because it's a rectangle, 9 by 11 or 12 feet or whatever it is. So you can't get some of those more interesting shapes in there, but it does work out for the most part. The second part is the sleep system. I think that for me, I love getting enough sleep. If I don't get at least 7-8 hours of sleep every night, I am a groggy, grumpy person. So getting enough sleep is very important for me. Sometimes when I don't get enough sleep, I'm able to do that for a couple of days, maybe 3 days. But if I'm doing it over a long period of time, especially as I get into further hiking and backpacking, going into through hikes through the AT, or that's further down the road after I train myself up to it and get rehab more for my hips, or going up to the mountains out west, or going anywhere where there's a lot more hills to climb, I want to be sure I get enough sleep. So the first thing I want to show you guys is a good sleeping pad that I use. This is from REI. It's a bit hefty, so there are definitely lighter options you can use when you're camping, but this is the REI Air-Rail Plus, and this is a really cool sleeping pad because it has 2 kind of like fins coming off the side of it that help you from keep rolling off. However, it's really, really narrow. I can't fit my dog on here with me, and he's a 15-pound Cairn Terrier. Looks like a Yorkie. You guys have seen him before. Speaking of which, he's getting into something. Hey, what are you doing? Thank you. Get your head out of the bag. I appreciate it. Good boy. There he comes. Good boy. There he is. But having a good sleeping pad to protect you and keep you warm in the winter or any other climate is really helpful. It serves as a layer of insulation, especially in the winter between you and the ground. And the ground, if it's cold, if you're sleeping on permafrost or it's frozen, will suck the heat right out of you. Trust me, I've been there before. The second thing I have is a good sleeping bag. Now this one is rated to 40 degrees. You can get ratings all the way down to like -50. You're sleeping in the Arctic for whatever reason, or you're up in Everest and it's just frigid because you're at 30,000 feet with an oxygen mask on. But this is a 40-degree down sleeping bag. It's only $110. You can pick this up at REI. and it's from Kelty. Cosmic down 40 degrees. But this is a very affordable way to get into it if you're going during the spring or the summer. I would recommend in the summer going to even like 55 degrees because it's going to be really warm still. Especially if you've had weather like we do here in Indiana recently. But I will be using this weekend. And then the last thing I had to show you for my sleep system is this little inflatable pillow. I'm not going to blow it up right now because I don't want to take the time to just go through everything. Probably got footage of having it blown up before I can find. This little inflatable pillow, it's okay. It works, but it slides everywhere. It's got the same kind of feel to the case that it comes in, but it's really light. The same as the sleeping bag. Really light. And it works. I don't recommend filling it up all of the way because then it's just going to slide around a lot more and your head's not going to be able to contour to it to the fullest ability. The sleep system. Next is the cook system. I don't have a really elaborate cooking system. However, I do have what I need, okay? So getting into cooking, you're going to need a fire, especially if you need to boil water to purify it or to cleanse it from pathogens like Giardia or anything else along those lines. If you don't know what Giardia is, it'll give you the shits really, really bad. And it'll be vomiting everywhere as well. It's basically double dragon. If you haven't heard of that, it is something that a company in boot camp when I was in the Marines ended up getting, and they were shitting across walls and vomiting, projectile vomiting across rooms. It's a horrible thing to get. And thankfully I didn't succumb to that or get it. But for fire, when I was at the gas station earlier, I thought it's going to be really wet this morning. Flint may not be the best option. So I'll end up taking a few sheets of paper and using lighters to get the fires going. And then in drier seasons or when I know it hasn't rained and everything's not so waterlogged, I'll use my flint and just use a striker. And that's pretty easy to use as long as everything's pretty dry. And for emergency fire stuff, you can use cotton balls soaked in Vaseline, as well as a little bit of mix of a rubbing alcohol, because alcohol is obviously flammable, and then the Vaseline will help it burn slower. Kind of works like a torch when you soak it in whale fat from way back. So once you get your fire started, that's definitely a necessity. You want to have the ingredients and the tools necessary to get a fire started, because that, in a lot of chances and a lot of times, will save your life. Not only from animals, because they're terrified of fire, they run from it for the most part, but also if you're freezing cold or you need to dry your clothes off in the middle of winter and you fall into a lake or a river and you can manage to get yourself out, you need to be able to dry yourself off and keep warm. But going into the meals, I went to Goodwill a week ago. Now, I wasn't looking for anything in specific, but I found this really lightweight little skillet, and it's basically very cheap aluminum. It was $5. It's already been used. It's burned a little bit from a burner, and I just love how light this is. You guys have seen this before in a past video, probably, and I can't wait to use this and give it a test. I'll be cooking chicken, eggs in this occasionally, probably, and definitely some bacon. Now I got a plate here just for myself. I don't take two plates. I have a separate bowl for Zeus. I actually take two bowls. And here is a smaller little canteen I can use to like scoop up water out of a small pool and then boil it. And this will just come in handy, especially if I'm cooking anything like ravioli or spaghetti with meatballs or anything like that. I can just heat it up in this. And for bowls, I have these two bowls. One of them is for me and one of them is for Zeus. I don't care which one. I wash them every time I get back from the field, from camping. But one will be for me and one will be for Zeus's food. And I'll also double these as dog bowls, as well as I have a little collapsible red bowl that I use for Zeus, but I don't know where that is right now, so I can't really show you guys that. You may have seen it in a past vlog. If it's in my videos, I'll throw a little B-roll over it. Actually, I was out driving today and I thought, hey, I really need a hatchet. And this was only $23. I signed up for a rewards membership thing with Ace Hardware. And they get 20% discount when you sign up. So I picked this up for like 20 bucks, $24 or something. It is from Fiskars, and it's advertised as chop 30 3 times deeper, more impact, more power and impact, lifetime warranty, and it's really, really light. I can't wait to use this and give it a shot. I've got an old bar stool in my apartment that I pulled out of recycling. I'm tempted to just chop at it and see how much damage it could actually do. But it's not a very big blade, so I'll have to make it precise or just work on smaller things or just work at what I'm chopping at for a while. And it's got a lifetime guarantee, so that's real promising for me. But I'm really looking forward to using this. It's got a carbon fiber handle as it is advertised, and just really looking forward to that. So having something to chop wood like I did in my last camping video when I went down to Brown County, which is where I'm going again, I was just slamming trees against trees basically, and then using what I could from that. But now I have a more methodical way to approach things. I don't have to exert so much energy with picking up a tree and then swinging it really hard against another tree that's standing. I'm talking about pretty light trees, basically stuff that was pushed over, dead, and then just rotted to the ground. But if I can find dead things, dead trees as well, standing, that's preferred. If you can find a dead standing tree, you're gonna have a whole lot better time with burning that wood because it's not gonna be soaked to the brim or to the log per se. Because when a tree is standing, all the water will just run down it. But when a tree has fallen, the water that sits on top will just keep draining and being soaked into the wood. But to get into what this video is really about, I know that was kind of long. I'm gonna chop that up a lot in editing. But to get into what this video is really about, I want to go through and show you how the Marine Corps taught me how to pack a pack. And I don't have some of the things that they did, and I have some things that they don't. But here we go. I'm just going to show you guys. So I got the pack right here, right? You guys can see this all right. I got my tarp in the bottom. Typically that's where you would keep a sleeping pad, but I keep my sleeping pad since it's not foam. We used foam ones in the military. I'll keep that at the bottom, at the tarp at the bottom. So starting off, I have this nice big open area, and I'm actually going to loosen these guys up a little bit so I can get some more room to work with starting out. And what these straps are used for, just to pull the load at the bottom closer to you so it's tighter around your back. You got more room to work with on the inside too. So the first thing I'll do is I'll put my sleeping bag in vertically, and I'll put my sleeping pad right next to it. And then right after that, I will squish my sleeping bag. That's very compressible here. And I'll slide the hammock right in, right next to it, just like so. Now I got all 3 of the heaviest things in my bag towards the bottom. You want to carry the weight either close to your back or at your hips. So in the Marines, when we would carry shovels, like I'm talking E-tools kind of a shovels, like they weighed 5-6 pounds, and you would put them as close to your back as possible, so that weight, when you're going uphill, it isn't pulling you backwards as you're standing uphill, and you kind of can balance yourself when you're going down, because when you're going downhill, you want to lean back a little bit so you don't fall on your face if the hill's too steep. And then I'll stuff my pillow right down into here. I apologize about this lens as well. It is really blurry. It vignettes really badly, so bear with me. I'm going to get some B-roll doing this all over again, and just roll with me here, okay? I apologize. Now the next thing, what I will pack after everything is stuffed down as far as I can get it, because you can see how much room I can get from pushing my sleeping bag down, is if I were taking this guy, this weighs a decent amount. I'm going to have to get a different one because that does weigh a good bit. I will put these guys back together, and I will stuff that right down on top. I'll put the plate right about here, and I will put the pot right here, and I keep it inside, or keep the sleeping pad kind of inside of that, just like that. Now I have a lot of room left. You can see how much room I actually have if I pull this up. And what I'll use that for is my camera gear, which I'm filming right now, so I can't. I'll throw a lens in there. Anywhere I can get it, I'll I've got covers for these, so I'll just toss it, say in this cup right here. If it hasn't been used, there's no water or food in there for it to get into the camera lens. And if it's dry out, I'll actually use the pocket right here. You can see how it flips down right there. I'll use the pocket right here. But if it's been raining, which it will have been, the leaves will still be wet when I go out, I will put it on the inside. Now next up are these two pockets. I use these two pockets for paracord and things I wouldn't need to get to quickly, so let's keep a lighter in each one. And this is 500 feet of paracord at 550, this is 550 paracord. So this is pretty durable. It's also reflective. I haven't even used this yet because I prefer to use the green paracord. I'm going to try the 550 this upcoming weekend, but I prefer to use this stuff because I've got so much more of it and it's easier to work with, I find. And I'll put that on one side and then I'll balance it out with the 550, the reflective stuff. And as for the fire starter, that goes, or the flint, that goes right up top in the top compartment right up here. And what I will do is there is a little pouch that a rain fly, or the rain cover, will go in right up here. What I'll do, because if this gets wet, it's useless. So in the case that the lighters don't work, I really need to use this, I'll just wrap it up in here. Then I'll stuff it, and it's nice and accessible if I need to get it. As long as I don't pull this out and lose it, that would be terrible. The fork will go inside. My dog's water pouch gets hooked to the side of my bag, so I can get to it easily, or in the front. And for other accessories such as GoPros, accessories like this head mount, chest mount, anything else I would need to use it with, that just gets stuff because I don't care if this gets wet. If this gets wet, it's not a big deal. However, this is useless because it's missing a little piece. Thing. But I have a chest mount. I've also got a second hat mount, which I may use. But I'll just put that in the pocket right here because if it gets wet, it's not useless. It can still work. For the camera lens, like I said, I'll actually usually wrap this up in a clothing article, like a sock, or if I'm bringing a change of socks, I'll just unwind the socks. I usually bring, if I'm out for 2 days, I'll bring 3 pairs of socks, because I don't like to wear the same socks every single day. When I'm out camping, that's how I got athlete's foot in the Marines. And if you're a backpacker, if you're a camper, or if you're in the military, and you did long distance hikes where it's 15, 20, 30, 40 miles a day, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you wear the same socks over and over, you can get trench foot if your feet are wet for too long, if you're sweating a whole lot in the humidity and your feet can't cool off or ventilate properly. You can get athlete's foot if you're wearing the same socks because the bacteria gets in there and it can fester and can cause some serious problems with that. You can just have a lot of stuff going on. So I like to bring a couple extra pairs of socks just in case my socks get wet and I know I have a while longer to go. And I can change my socks out and hang my other socks to dry or wash them in the river or anything else and then hang them above the fire to dry for the night or for the day or for whatever it is, or lay them out in the sun for 6 or 7 hours to let them dry out in the heat. But for this trip, I was thinking about taking some swim trunks, and I'm seriously considering it, but seeing how it's going to rain, this actually brings up another topic. I'll be doing a video on how to read topographical maps in the next week after I get back, because that's an important thing. But I was going to go swimming down in Lake Monroe once I get down there. However, the trail specifically to get there is going to be water washed. It's going to be terrible. So I'm going to be taking a different route. I won't be seeing any water. I just feel like not getting washed away by any floods that happen down there. So I'm going to be going out. Oh, and Zeus is sitting on the last little bit that I take every time. Excuse me. Can I have my jacket? Thank you. Thanks. Appreciate it. Is a rain jacket. Utterly important. If you are outside and you're getting wet and it's like 30, 40, 50, 60 degrees, you will get hypothermia. Maybe not so much if it's 60 and above, maybe even 55, you might be all right if you're keeping warm and keeping going, and you're sitting by a fire. But if you're wet, you're gonna be miserable. You just will be. So always take some sort of rain protection, even something that can help break off wind. This is also not only waterproof, but it's a windbreaker. It's a very good one at that. This is from Carhartt. And I absolutely love this thing. I got it for Christmas a couple years ago. And I even took it with me when I was in the military, or at least once I got to my base that I was on for school. And whenever it rained in Virginia, or it was just freezing cold, I would wear a puffer jacket underneath this, and then I'll throw this over it. And it would just be nice and toasty in there because the puffer jacket's pretty warm. And this would keep the wind off of me. So always take some sort of weapon, whether it be a knife. This is going to help not only with if you're out and you get lost flaying a squirrel or a fish or anything else like that, but it can also help chop firewood by using a stick or a big, or like a small piece of a log and banging against another piece, and you can just split the wood. And if you do have to fillet a fish and you do plan on fishing, I don't think I'll take this with me, but this is a great little knife. I used it when I was fishing a long time ago. Big fan. Eagle Claw works well. Got it from Walmart, I believe. But that's it now. I'll see you guys later. Peace.